For our political insiders joining us now to talk all things politics, of course, Tony May, Charlie Giroux, thank you guys very much for joining us. First of all, let's start with the state budget, kind of in the House in the midst of voting in a plan, not one that Governor Tom Wolf would like to see. Where does it stand right now?
Well, there are pieces of a budget actually being voted on by the House of Representatives today. A good, solid start to the budget process, one that doesn't raise individual taxes, one that comes up with some innovative solutions to meeting some of the budget demands that exist, and let's hope that a lot of it finds its way into the final package.
Tony, about $800 million short of what the governor was asking for. What are the Democrats thinking?
Well, I mean, the governor's response was supportive that they're getting to work on the problem, and if there's room to negotiate, the difference between the $31.5 billion that the House Republicans want to spend and the $32.3 billion that he wants to spend, we may have a deal.
But I mean, you're talking about a $3 billion budget deficit. I mean, these are numbers that are huge to think about. I mean, how much wiggle room is there, especially when it goes to the Senate, because that's the bigger of the two tasks?
Well, the state has been spending too much money. This budget recognizes that fact, that the state has a spending problem more than it does a revenue problem. But I think Tony is right. There's some room for negotiation here. It is an election year budget, so my prediction is they'll get it done on time.
It's amazing when compromise comes around during an election year, huh?
Could happen.
Speaking of compromise, of course, the Senate on Capitol Hill talking about trying to confirm a Supreme Court nominee. Neil Gorsuch has been going through hearings for the week. Where does that stand now, and you know, where we go moving forward?
Well, it looks like it's going to go to that his nomination will be sent to a full vote of the Senate probably Friday. At that time, the Democrats will exercise their option to resist cloture, which means they'll block the nomination.
It won't work. Ultimately, Judge Gorsuch, who is so eminently qualified, I mean, that's the thing that's getting lost in all this, is how incredibly well qualified Judge Gorsuch is. But bluntly, Michael, I'd like to see the Democrats filibuster. I'd like to have the American public have seen in full view, you know, Chuck Schumer and Senator Whitehouse and a couple of others, Dianne Feinstein up there reading from War and Peace for hours on end, trying to hold the floor without being able to lay one reasonable argument against Judge Gorsuch.
Two words, Merrick Garland. It's the same stunt with different players that the Republicans pulled against the Democratic nominee for a full year.
In the law, Tony, they call that an admission against interest. That is, you know, that's really what this is about. It's the Democrats still mad over Merrick Garland, which was a totally and completely different set of circumstances.
And we're talking about a possibility of nuclear option, which could, I mean, that could change the rules of the Senate forever.
Well, Harry, we've gone a long way to changing them anyway. He instituted the so-called nuclear option for all judges except justices of the Supreme Court. We may have to go there.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We always appreciate your insight on these topics. And of course, you can catch our political insiders here on CBS 21 News every Tuesday. And make sure to join them and Rob Hanrahan every Sunday for Face the State. It's Sunday mornings at 8:30.